Welcome to another episode of the PPSS Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, also best-selling author, and every single day I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have another very, very unique guest, and on this show, we have celebrities, entrepreneurs, business CEOs, athletes, artists to share with us their path to success, how they're able to overcome challenges and adversity, and of course, their keys to success. And today's guest is definitely somebody who's overcome a lot to become who he is today. I've had the opportunity to hear him speak, hear his story, and man, he is inspiring, motivating, and so much more. Makes me want to do more because of what he's gone through, and he's still being able to do all this stuff that he's doing now. And it's just a testament of what you can do when you put your mind to it, when you put your head down, work hard, and stay focused on making change. That change will eventually come, and he is definitely somebody who can share some insight into that. He goes all around the world talking about motivating, inspiring others, peoples who are struggling with their limiting beliefs, their self-awareness, and also their vices. He's also showcasing how you can live life with purpose over pleasure. He's helping people with their financials as well, helping them with their real estate portfolios, helping them get started in real estate investing. So please welcome real estate investor, expert, and also a speaker, Mr. Justin Danforth.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here. It's always inspiring speaking with you because you have all these amazing stories of how you got to where you are today, and all the successes that you've achieved, given all the other stuff that you've gone through. But first of all, you're a person who is very, very good at real estate, and you've been teaching people real estate. Why real estate? How did you get into real estate to begin with? And I guess that kind of leads to, hey, your origin story.
Right. To answer the question, like why real estate, um, part of the origin story, my dad was always in construction. He just wasn't business savvy. He was just a hustler. So he could always get jobs. We just could never make ends meet. So my sister and I, we grew up kind of poor, but being in construction growing up, he was the type of dad who was like, if you're not in school, you're going to work. So any holiday breaks or summer vacations, well, most people call summer vacations, I was working on job sites with my stepdad, who is, my dad. But so I was always around residential construction. Fast forward to later on in life, I was working building houses, helping to build houses with my cousin, and I'd be in there just working, sweating, breaking my back. And this guy, he would pull up in this brand new F-150 Platinum Custom Series truck. He'd jump out with these open toe sandals on, with his Bluetooth in his ear. He just would walk through the house and wouldn't even acknowledge us, and turn around and walk right back out. And he always seemed to be on the phone every time. So finally I asked my cousin, I was like, man, who is this guy? He don't even say what's up. He don't ask how you guys are. Like, we don't even exist. He was like, that's my investor. That's who I build all these houses for. That's who we work for. And I was like, wait a minute. And we were building a lot of houses. So I was like, I looked down at my boots and I said, man, I got the wrong shoes on, man. I need open toe sandals. And so at the time, I didn't really have any money. I didn't have any credit. I didn't have any credentials. I was a 1099 employee, so I didn't even have like tax records and things of that nature that typically most people would just go to the bank with good credit and payment history, work history, and get a loan, an investor loan or something like that. So I didn't have any of those things. So I went on YouTube and I said, let me just throw a dart in the air and see if I can hit something. And I searched how to buy real estate with no money. And of course, a gazillion videos popped up. So I searched through them and I found a specific guru, so to speak, who I felt like he just resonated with me with his delivery, his credibility, and his experience in the field of buying and selling real estate without any cash, credit, or credentials, as what we call the three C's. And so that's how I got into real estate investing.
That is awesome. Now, I would assume that now, as a real estate investor yourself, when you walk through those work sites, when you walk through those houses, you acknowledge everybody now, eh?
Oh, definitely. I'm real hands on, man. I don't even mind. I don't mind getting my hands dirty.
Mhm.
So,
What was that very first property that was officially yours, or the first deal that you were actually involved with, that you're not building the houses for somebody else, that very first one? What was it, and how did you feel when you retained that deal?
oh man. So it's a townhouse in Chesapeake, Virginia. Um, you call sellers and you negotiate all of the things, right, in order to take over the property without any money down, any cash up front, and things like that. So after the process of going through that process, sitting down with the seller and ironing out all the details, then we go to a closing table. Well, nowadays, of course, you're able to close virtually anything. You can even have mobile notaries come to the house. We've closed deals that way as well. But this specific property, my wife and I, we were away on a cruise while the we had already negotiated with the seller. Everything had been taken care of. We were just waiting on the attorneys and the closing date. So we actually were able to close while we were away on a cruise on this very first property. Like I said, it was a townhouse. It was in really good condition. We typically target nice houses in nice neighborhoods,
Mm.
because we're not doing another side of real estate investing, which would be considered wholesaling, which you target, more dilapidated properties or beat up properties, so to speak. We target nice houses in nice neighborhoods. So that townhouse, we still own today, and we still generate passive income off of it.
Oh well, talk about the guts that you have. Very first deal, and you're on a cruise.
Yeah.
The very first offer I put out there, I was sweating bullets, even knowing that I was lowballing, and there was no way they would accept it. But the only thing I could think about is what if they do accept it? What do I do then? So, anyways, for a person who's done a lot of real estate yourself, now you're helping others. What are some of the most common mistakes that people make when it comes to real estate investing that you help them out with?
That's a great question. Some of the most common mistakes is wanting it too fast, wanting everything too fast and overthinking things and not putting in the work that it takes. We set people up for success. I mean, we hold their hand, and then at the end of the day, you still have to take the action, right? And you would think that goes without saying, but there are so many people who are caught up in this world of automation and delegation and haven't built a business yet. Like you one of the most common mistakes are, like I said, trying to run before they walk, so to speak. And so they're missing out on large pieces of the detailed day to day, the uh headaches that we face as entrepreneurs that you have to go through in order to be successful. And that's some of the most common mistakes.
Mm. No, there's another group of people. So the people we just kind of alluded to are the ones that goes, you know what? Real estate is get rich quick. We could get this done fast. Let's do it now. Don't worry about all this stuff. It will take care of itself. No problem. And those are the mistakes because they just don't plan out what they're gonna be doing. They don't assess the risks and all that kind of stuff, which you would help them out with. There's another group of people who are so what are called so risk averse. They'll look at that first comment about no money down. Oh, that's a scam. What? You can't you can't you could buy properties with more than more than one partner. You can't do that. You can only own it by yourself. Like they have so many of these beliefs that are not true. So for you, when you first searched up how do I buy money properties with no credit and no money, and you saw all this stuff pop up, what was going in your mind that goes, this one doesn't look like it's legit, but this one does. Like, what allowed you to determine which one you went with?
That's a great question. Just hours and hours of listening and reading over and over, to of the select few, right? And then going further and researching that individual. Everybody has what we all have, like public information. You can Google somebody's name and find out a wealth of information on that individual. And it goes the same way with their LLCs, their entities, and things like that. So just doing further research into how established is this individual, what is their credibility, what gives them the right to teach what they're teaching, and go from there, and then hopping on calls with those individuals if they'll entertain it.
Mm,
And sometimes you have to again, you have to do the minutia, you have to go through the minutia, the tedious work of doing these things, but it's for your own protection and success later on down the road.
mm. Now we talked about how common mistakes are the downfall for a lot of up and comers. Yet there's a lot of people who are very iffy when it comes to no money down, no credit, those types of deals. What are some of the most common myths or some of the most common rejections that you get when people go, "Oh, that's not going to work," or "What? We're not going to venture in that." So, what are the ones that you usually hear, and what is the actual answers, or what is the reality of those kind of deals?
Great question. So, one of the most common things is like, why would somebody sell you their house without any money involved, upfront money, without any money down, no cash in hand? That's one of the most common questions people struggle with, and then that affects a whole lot of other things later on when if they're going to start the business or implement the business, the strategies of talking to sellers. You have to get on the phone and call them. Most people can't get past the fact or the reason like why would they sell me their house at a discount offer, like like you said, at a low ball price? Why would they do that? They're not going to do that. So that's a limiting belief in and of itself, and that affects other things, like I said, down the road. But that's the most common thing. And then to answer that is for me, I had and I struggled with that in the beginning. Um, to answer it is though that you have to realize you can never you will never know what goes on in the next person's life. So today, and we all have experienced today going great, and tomorrow a hurricane category 5 hits us, and just life is at ruin. Like things happen out of nowhere, whether it's divorce, death, just so many health, like occupation. You may have to up and move and relocate. When you've got 60 days to do so, you don't have time to you don't have the money to repair the house, to put it on the market, to list it and wait for it to sell just so you can move because your occupation, your job says we need you, 300 miles away. So there's all of these scenarios, and it's 1,001 of them, or 1,000,001 rather. But um, that being said, that's the thing is you will never know what's going on in somebody's life that will be the reason for them selling you the house with no cash.
Now, a lot of people out there who wants to get into real estate but don't is because of fear. They go, what if this happens? Oh, I can't pick up the phone. Oh, I can't talk to this person. Oh, I don't want to put in the offer. Fear is driving a lot of people's decisions. It seems like you are very fearless. You're out there making deals. You're closing your first deal on a cruise. I mean, come on, that's fearless right there. How do you deal with fear? How do you overcome those types of obstacles that people usually struggle with?
I can answer that real quick and very short. Your key word you said is most people say what if, and that's exactly fear-based. I have faith-based questions or answers that say even if. So even if this seller says no, I'm still going to pick up the phone and call the next one. Even if I dump all of my money into this course, this mentor, this coach, this program, this mastermind, and it doesn't work, I'm still going to do X, Y, and Z after the fact, which is faith based. So I never question what if I like that fear. I never have it. I just say, even if it don't work out, which is most people say, well, what if it don't work out? I say, even if it don't work out, I'm still going to continue to be me, to do what I can to become the best version of myself. And when I'm the best version of myself, I make better decisions because the confusion is eradicated by having self-awareness and having that clarity of thought. So I just it's not what if, it's even if.
So this even if mentality, where did this come from? Like, were you always born with this type of mindset, or how did you develop this, or what was the aha moment? You go, wait a minute, if I think about this from an even if perspective, it's gonna change my world.
It's a great question. No, I definitely wasn't born with it, though we wish we all were. However, for me, it's based off of my past experiences. So as we talked before, we all have bad seasons in life, and in 2002 I had one in which I was arrested and charged with first degree murder, facing a life sentence without the possibility of parole. At 21 years old with an eighth grade education, sitting in jail, facing a life sentence. My daughter was only 10 months old. So at that point in time, I was faced with, a roller coaster of emotions and feelings and all of the things. But on top of that, it was like look what you did getting here. Like all the decisions in your life led up to this point. So as I sat in prison, I ended up being convicted of second-degree murder and serving sentenced to 17 years and 9 months. And I served an actual 14 years and 4 months of my life in penitentiary. So throughout that course of time, all I did was first got my GED because, like I said, I went in with an eighth grade education at 21 years old. Um, and then I started to live a life of deduction, subtracting all of the things that wasn't conducive to the person that I wanted to become. So after I had my vision set, the future Justin, the Justin 10.0, looks like this, walks like this, talks like this, lives like this, then everything every single day is conducive to stepping into that vision. And part of that being, don't question what if it doesn't work. And then because that's what happens with a lot of people, we start to dwell in that fear and then either most of us just self-sabotage. We pick up vices. And it doesn't always have to be drugs, alcohol, porn, gambling, but it could just be binge watching or binge eating, binge watching Netflix, binge eating ice cream or whatever it is. But we allow the fear to overtake our states, and then we self-sabotage and go backwards. I refuse to do that because of where I've been.
Mhm. That is absolutely amazing that you're able to get to where you are today from that type of past and being able to harness that type of mindset from that kind of scenario and situation and grow from it. And that's very, very impressive, very, very inspiring. Uh, the last time we talked, we also talked about the difference of mindset that you had when you were inside too. And you were noticing lots of people there who kept on coming back. Why was that? And what did you do differently so that you were able to come out actually prepared to face the world versus some other people who were coming out and had nothing going for them?
Great question. So like you said, a lot of people, we all know the recidivism rate in the penitentiary is high. It's a revolving door. And the reason that I found being was most of those individuals, a lot of them have mental health issues, but they're also part of their mental state is they're trying to fulfill a void. So most of them have those vices and those addictions that they can't shake. And when they go to prison, they never really get rid of them. There's a lot of things you can still do in prison, especially when it comes to drugs and gambling and porn and things like that. So they never get rid of it. And so sitting in prison just gives them the idea or helps create the idea that, well, when I get out, I can do it better next time. I just need to I need to be free so I can be smarter about the dumb decisions that I'm making in my life, right? So, and that's and it's sad, but it's true. And that's what I found by sitting with these individuals because, like I said, over the course of my time, there were individuals who already been locked up, done 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 years, and were coming back in within 12 to 36 months, more than once. And I'm like, man, I just want to get let go once. Like, I just want to be free one time. They ain't got to worry about me ever again. And what happened? Like, are you hard headed or you like it here? Nobody likes it here. And I would sit down with these individuals like, what went wrong? And come to find out, like I said, a lot of them were trying to fulfill a void. They still needed, one more drug sale or this money, right? Or this car or this female or whatever it was that they were involved in. They were trying to fulfill a void. And for me, I had already felt like I've already done all of that, seen and done everything there was to do in that street life, that wrong negative mentality. For me, it was all about getting out and living a domestic lifestyle. Because prior to going to prison, I didn't wake up next to the same woman every day. I didn't take out the trash, cut the grass, pay bills, like just live a domestic lifestyle, take vacations and things like that. So that's all I yearned for. And so I started with part of my personal growth and development process, my daily process was reading on how to become a good husband, how to become a good father, how to live that domestic lifestyle. So I tell everybody, I've read all of Nicholas Sparks' books and watched the movies. So
That is totally awesome. What would you do when you have those relapses or when things don't go according to plan? And it's so easy just to fall back and accept, okay, no, I can't do that. What do you tell yourself? How do you keep yourself going?
that's a really great question. For me, everything that I do moving forward is non-negotiable. So I wake up at 3 o'clock every morning, 7 days a week. And that's there's twofold. So part of that is because it's hard for me, right? And because I've made a certain level of success and growth, I understand that comfort is most people's downfall. So because 3 o'clock in the morning is so uncomfortable, it's like a self-inflicted adversity. And we all know that any adversity we face makes us stronger once we overcome it, right? It really defines a man is defined by the adversity that he makes it through, not through the comfort. You can't define who you are, what you'll do in a state of comfort. So I get up at 3 o'clock every morning. That being said, those things are non-negotiable. And so if it when a setback occurs or the thought process, the negative thought seeps in, that negative self-talk tries to take over my mind and doing something that's going to be better or a risk, um, I just simply use my non-negotiable auto-suggestive thought process. And it's really in my head, so I don't verbally curse out loud, right? But in my head, I'll cuss myself out. I'll call myself a vagina in the most vulgar language, right? In my head, I'll call myself, a female dog in the most vulgar language. All of those vicious words.
Mhm.
And I tell myself, be a man, you know, grow a pair, do what you got to do moving forward. And so that makes me like if like I would say snap out of it. Like don't second guess. Don't say what we don't say what if. That's the thought process that it took time to train my brain to be able to do that. Like I said, these things don't happen overnight. And that's what most people want is that instant gratification, that instant satisfaction. They think everything's gonna happen overnight.
Mm. That is very, very cool. I mean, first of all, going back to the time when you were saying you will sit down with individuals and find out what their mistakes were. Like, that's the epitome of learning from other people's mistakes. You've actually interviewed people in prison to find out what you can do differently so you can get out. And then now you are able to really harness that energy and go, okay, how do I keep my mindset right? How do I move forward? How do I snap out of it? And you've been able to really use that and move forward and become more and more successful. Now, when it comes to like today, you're out there helping other people work on their real estate portfolios. You're helping people overcome their limiting beliefs. What what do you have them do as the first step? Let's say if they're saying something's very hard or they're not able to maintain that positive focus and all that kind of stuff. What's that first step that you recommend people do to snap out of things?
One of the first things is I would advise people to sit with themselves. Like that's why I tell people going to prison was the greatest experience that ever happened for me, right? Because it gave me the opportunity to sit with myself. And the longer I sat with myself, the more disgusted I became with where I was at in life, who I was in life, and how I got there. So no matter, you don't have to be sitting in prison, but if you look in the mirror and you sit with yourself, you look in the mirror and you say, are you truthfully, wholeheartedly happy with where you're at? And this could be with your weight, your finances, your anything and everything, your relationships, whether it's with your spouse, your kid, or even your own parents or neighbors. Like if you're not happy with where you're at, that should be all the motivation you need.
Mhm. No, you go all around the places and speaking with people, inspiring them, motivating them. How did that come about? Because it's one thing for you to, okay, you're out of prison, you go into real estate, you're working hard, you develop that whole portfolio, build that whole economy for yourself. That's one thing. But for you to now take that and start speaking on stages, encouraging other people, coaching, that's another thing. That's another skill set. How did you arrive to that scenario?
Uh, so it started before I even got released from prison. By the end of my sentence, I had worked my way into being able to have the privilege of going out into society. I got to a minimum custody level. And I was able to go out into society with an approved volunteer that would pick me up for 6 hours twice a week. A lot of guys would go to the movie theater, to the bowling alley, to restaurants, like the things that they wanted to do for fun. For me, I started to book speaking engagements to at-risk youth.
Wow.
right? At the YMCA after school program, the Boys and Girls Club, churches, anybody would have me come and speak to the kids who were already starting to, they were at risk of getting in trouble. Some of them had already been in front of the judge, some of them had already been in group homes, they were on probation, or they were headed in that direction. And I did that because um, that was my way of giving back. I didn't have anything financially. I didn't have all I had was my experience of how to go from being the worst to being good, right? And so I wanted to give back, and that was my way of trying to give back because I realized like I started going down the wrong path at a very young age. So if I could help, you know, change one of those kids, it would be something good, something better for everybody. And what I realized was a lot of the parents got more out of what I was saying than the kids, because kids are hard, man. That's the reality of it. We understand that. But the parents, they were so grateful that it gave them insight to why the children were acting the way they were acting. And so from there, I really enjoyed speaking, and it felt good to be able to help, to know that I was helping. Um, and then I just kept that up coming home.
Was speaking an option that they suggested, or is that something that you requested? That okay, during my free time out, I would like to go and speak.
No, I requested it. Yeah, it
That
wasn't
is
a
that is
requirement.
very, very impressive. I mean, like speaking is something that most people go, hey, I don't want to be even close to speaking to anybody. And you're suggesting it. What was that motivation for that? Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, I really want to help people. I really want to change that one kid. It's another thing for you to go, I'm gonna go speak in front of live audiences and live people about it. That's a big step. And how did you get there? Like, how did you go, this is what I have to do?
So it's a great question because, like I said, one of the first things I did was get my GED. Um, I scored so high on the GED test that I was able to work. It was a paying job, $1 a day, which is the highest amount you could make at that time with a state job. $1 a day as the GED instructor's assistant. So I was helping other guys learn how to get, study the different subjects to get their GED, practice for the GED. From there, I signed up for community college, and I was asked to speak at the GED graduation. Then I was asked to speak at the college graduation. So I got my 2-year associate's degree in electronic engineering technology, and I was asked to speak. And part of one of my electives was public speaking to get my degree. So I mean, I said, okay. People told me I was good at it. Let's give it a shot. So I spoke at those ceremonies, and the reaction, and it could have just been that's what you do is you don't belittle nobody and say that was trash, but everybody reacted really well. They all, gave me hugs and great speech, and it felt so good. And some people had tears, and it was like, okay, this is what they say, a gift that I have. And it must be because I didn't have anything else.
Hmm.
I don't know
What was
what
that?
else.
What was that feeling the first time you walked up on stage and started speaking? Were you like nervous? Were you, oh, this is easy. I've lived through all this other stuff that got me to where I am, that this is a piece of cake.
So it was about 50-50. So I had been through so much like this can't break me. This is not going to break me. But there's still always that level of nervousness. Yes. But however, I prepared so much, day in and day out. Like I place a high standard on myself. Like failure is not an option. Like quitting is never going to be an option. So it's like if you're going to do something, give it your all. And that's what a lot of us we set out to give our all to something, and then the harder it is, the less we give. And then we just end up quitting or just not doing it at all. And so for me, it's like do it, give it your all. So I was so prepared. And that was another contributing thing to my success when coming home. See, a lot of those guys that I sat down and interviewed and questioned and asked what were wrong, they all waited until the day, 90 days before they get out, they're gonna start working out. Right till they get out, they're gonna go get a job, or they're gonna look for a job, or they're gonna do these things once they get out. And I refused to wait. You gotta think I had been gone for so long. I couldn't wait till I get out to ask somebody, for a place to live, for the money for all the things. Everything costs too much money. My family don't have any money. And so I prepared 2 years prior to my release. I was preparing for my release. Part of that was I went to a speaking engagement. It was all adults, and it was a support group for people who had loved ones that were incarcerated. They used to get together and try to figure out how they could help each other and lean on each other. It's like if I had knee surgery and you had knee surgery, we'll talk all day about knee surgery. If I had knee surgery and you didn't, you're like, oh man, I hope you recover fast. I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear you talk about it.
I don't even want to see it.
Exactly. So they have something in common. They all had a loved one that was incarcerated. So that was their bond, and that's what brought them together. So I went to speak at this gathering 2 years prior to my release, and I looked at them all and I said, I'm here because you all want to know how you can best help us as inmates, incarcerated individuals trying to reacclimate to society and reentry. I need a couch. And they all just erupted in laughter. And it kind of threw me for a second. I was like, I'm serious. Like, when I get released, I got a release date. I don't have a couch to sit on. So after my speech, I finished it up and everything. You get to walk around and network and everything. And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, how do you not understand? I don't have anything. Would I get out of here and sit on the floor? And you could see the light bulb, like the oh, and that's what so many people don't realize. Like, so this network, I got everybody's names, numbers, emails, addresses that I could get. And I don't have access to email, but it's just got all contact information I could possibly get. So throughout the next 2 years, I'd write you, Fong, and say, hey, man, you remember you said if there's ever anything I need, you'd help me out. Do you mind if you don't mind, could you go Friday when you get paid or the next pay period and get me a pack of boxers? That's it. Here's my size. And you're like, that's it. That's all you need is a pack of boxers? Yeah, that's all I need is a pack of boxers. I'd write somebody else and say, hey, if you don't mind, you said if I need anything, could you get me a pack of t-shirts? Here's my size. Nothing fancy, nothing, fashion. Just go to Walmart and get a pack of t-shirts. I'd write somebody else. Hey, look, I'm gonna be getting out in the fall, so I'm gonna need a winter jacket, just something warm, maybe a good sweater or a hoodie. Would you mind getting me one that I could wear for work and then one that I could just wear around, Same thing with jeans. I'd write somebody else and ask for two pair of pants. I need one for work because I'm more than likely going to be doing construction. That's all I have. That's all I know. And I need something to wear just out and about. No, that's all you need. You sure? That's all I need. Because what I found, Fong, with everybody else didn't do this. They waited till they got out to ask their family, their friends, their people, or try to sell drugs to get all of these things all on the same day. So I started planning. So by the time I got a year left, I've already got a full wardrobe for work and pleasure. Now I got 12 months left. What do I need? Now I need housing. In order for me to get released from prison, I had to have an address in the state that I was doing my time, which was North Carolina. I don't have family and friends in North Carolina. I'm not from North Carolina. That's just where I caught my charge and had to do all of my time. So now I got to find somewhere to live because if I don't, they're going to release me to the county sheriff, who's going to then lock me back up as a violation of my parole because I don't have nowhere to live in that state and I'm not allowed to leave the state because of my parole. That's another part of the recidivism rate, and that's another topic for another day. So now I'm stuck with, okay, so I get put on the backlog for multiple homeless shelters. I can at least start from there. It's an address if I get approved. So, but there's a backlog. I got 12 months left. So I get on the backlog and I start reaching out to these volunteers. Does anybody got a place I can live? I found somebody who had a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath, double wide trailer on land that they owned. They were willing to rent it to me for regular, for rent with all the things like, first and last month's deposit for a 6-month lease, things like that. Well, I asked for a 9-month lease because of my parole. So they agreed. Now I got to find the money. So I had 33 people on my list of people that said they would help. I took and made a flyer just on Microsoft. Back then it was Microsoft '07. That's all I had access to. We didn't have internet. I didn't have access to internet or nothing. I just had basic Microsoft Word '07. I created a flyer and I itemized with the help of my mother on phone calls. Hey, call the electric company down here in this area. Find out how much about is the deposit going to be for me to get the electricity turned on at that address. So now I got the number 150. Call internet. How much is internet going to be? Called internet. All a water bill, all of the things, right? Cell phone, gas at the time. Give me an average. I did an average of how much gas would cost within a 2 weeks period of a radius of where I might be working at. And I put all of that itemized on this flyer. And I asked 30, and it came up to about $3,200. I asked 33 people for $100. Just donate $100 a piece. And I raised the money just like that. So now I got my mom with the money, go and secure the place. So now I got a house to live in when I get home. Now I'm down to about 6 months. Again, hey, if you don't mind, can you go get me a 20-pound bag of rice? So I started building all the things that my mom would go and put into this place. So it was like somebody's been living there all their life. So I had non-perishable food items, cinnamon, sugar, salt, pepper, all of these things, shower curtain for the bath, bed linen, all the things I had compiled, just asking people for one thing at a time, one item at a time. So it wasn't too much pressure or burden on nobody.
Mhm.
So then 30 days before I was released, I set up one of my passes to go to DMV. I took the written and the eye exam. Only other test there is for DMV to get your driver's license there, anyways, was the driving part. Now I was not allowed to take that because I was incarcerated. So I had my mom schedule a DMV appointment for the day and time for 1 hour after my release date, that I would be released. So I left prison gate. As soon as they let me out of the gate, I walked out. I hugged my daughter, my mother, my sister, and got into the car with a buddy of mine who stayed in touch with. He did 24 and a half years on a life sentence. So we met each other in prison. He got out 9 months before me. He was well established. Bought a brand new Honda Accord at the time, a Honda Accord Sport. I'd already arranged with him. Look, I need you to take me to DMV so I can take the driving test. Went straight to DMV, got my license on the spot. Left DMV, went and got the water turned on, electric turned on, internet turned on. Then went to the house. Walked in the house. My mom and sister already had it clean, had it smelling good, everything in the cabinets. I felt like I'd been living there all my life.
That is
And that was the pillar, the foundation of me being so successful.
that is
I didn't
absolutely.
need anything. I didn't have to scramble other than go to work the next day.
Mhm. It also goes to show that you're a people person. You're able to build those relationships. Given the background that you had, you were still able to get people to trust and to help you out, which is a very daunting task to a lot of people who have that type of background, but you're able to do so, which speaks to the type of demeanor that you have, how you present yourself, how you eventually you add value to them too. So what was it that you were able to do to get people to build those relationships to be as strong as they were to help you out?
Just being authentic. Just being authentic. It's no different than when I came home and I went to go to the car dealership and I'm just on the lot looking. And you know how that goes. Somebody comes up, wants to sell you everything on the lot. And I look at them and said, listen, man, all I have is $2,000. I don't have no work history. I was like, I just got out of prison. I don't even know how this works. Like I'm very, very straightforward. I did the same thing when I went to open up a bank account. I never had a bank account.
Mhm.
Sat with the woman and said, listen, I just came home from prison. I've been locked up a long time. I don't even know how this works. Can you help me? And when you're open and honest, people will go out of their way to help you because you're not hiding nothing. For me, that's how it's been. And I can see the reason I'm like that is because when I meet somebody, I don't never want to think in the back of my mind something ain't right. They're not, you can't be like you don't ever want to question somebody's motives or their agenda. So for me, I put everything out first. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm here for. This is what I need. This is what I want. Can you help me?
Mhm.
And when you do that, people respect honesty.
So fast forward to today, what's the next big thing? What's your big plans? What does it look like in the horizon?
It's a great question. The next big thing is just to continue to grow a community for my mindset, fitness, and nutrition program, coaching program that I offer. I just want to because that has been helping me to make a deeper impact more than just buying and flipping and selling a bunch of houses, hold a bunch of houses in a portfolio. Like this is more meaningful to me to continue to speak on bigger stages, to make that impact, man. That's the next big thing, just to make the impact stronger.
Awesome. Well, based on what you're able to accomplish and the type of mindset that you have, I'm pretty sure you can get there very, very quick. Actually, I have another formal question for you. You said you wake up at 3 o'clock every single morning. What do you do? What's your routine?
Great question. So 3 o'clock, I drink some water to hydrate because the rest of the day I'm probably drinking coffee and then water in between, but not as much as I would like to. So I get up at 3, I drink water, I pray, I supplicate to my Lord, and then I do some reading. Only reading I do is involves personal growth and development. And then I don't journal every day. Sometimes I journal because my journaling process is different than most people's journaling process. I just got a 3-step journaling process. All I do is write down what I regret from the day before. If I got impatient in traffic, or if I said something, out of pocket to my wife, or if I got angry, or anything that I regret from the day before, I write that down. What I'm gonna do for today to not ever do that again, moving forward. And then I pick a quote that from anybody who I relate to, or relate with the words, and then I use that, see how that is going to, I'm going to be better able to use that throughout the rest of my day. That's my journaling process. So it's just real quick and easy. Write down what I regret, make sure I never do it. What can I do to change? And then a quote, how does this apply to me moving forward for today? And then I go to the gym and work out.
Well, very, very good. And by then it's what, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, well, by the time I
Every
get back from the gym, it's 5:30.
everybody's still sleeping. So
Yes.
when do you sleep then? Do you sleep like early?
That's it's relative, like, to whatever I have going on. Like, I don't live by, society norm, man. That's what I think another cornerstone of my success is, that I don't subject myself to what everybody says you should do. And so I don't live by that, oh, you got to have 6 to 8 hours every night in order to be optimal. And most people, like I said, for me, I've learned that the more comfortable I am, the more stagnant I'm going to become, the more I'm not going to get it done. So the more uncomfortable I am. So if I'm a little bit tired, to me, it's a good thing. I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna get more done. Because I'm always in competition with myself and to be the best. And so I know if I'm tired and can get this X, Y, and Z done, then I can never lose. So that's my mentality. So I mean, I go to bed 9, 10, sometimes even 11. But my 3 o'clock is non-negotiable. So it don't matter what time I go to bed. It's non-negotiable. I can't never let that go.
Well, well, it's working out for you for sure because you're successful, you've achieved a lot, and you look great, you look healthy, you look energized. Um, I'm gonna challenge people out there to look as energized as you are, waking up at 3 o'clock every single morning. Five quick rapid fire questions just for fun. Give me the first thing that comes to mind. You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence.
Shrimp.
Nice.
That's the first thing.
Hollywood calls and goes, "Wow, Justin, your story is amazing, very inspiring, very motivating. We would love to do a biopic of you. Who would you cast to play you?"
Ooh, it's a great question. Oh man, that's so weird. Kevin Hart really don't look like me. I'd have to pick somebody. Um, I don't know. I don't want to say Vin Diesel because it might have to be Vin Diesel based off the look, maybe, but I don't know. That's a hard question.
Well, regardless, let's say Kevin Hart does get the part,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's inspired by your story,
There you go.
and he shows up at your door and goes, "Hey, buddy, I got the part. I'm going to be playing my version of you. Let's hang out." And you go, "Hey, no problem. I got the night all planned out." What does that night look like with Kevin Hart?
If he planned it, that's gonna be rough.
Well,
But
you planned it.
yeah, if I plan it, it's really gonna look like, man, just two guys going to find somewhere to hang out, maybe at like a beach where we can sit and kind of outside and just, to me, like drink coffee, or some type of non-alcoholic beverage. I don't drink, so, and really just hang out and discuss like personal growth and development based off of our past experiences, because I know where he's from and what he's been through and how far he's come.
Mhm. Now he's hungry. And you go, "Hey, Kevin, buddy, no worries. Come back to my place. I'm gonna fix you something nice." What's your special dish that you prepare?
Oh, probably. Man, a special dish. And I've done a lot of cooking. Um, I'd probably just whip up some type of seafood boil.
Be nice. And I'm sure there's gonna be shrimp in there, right?
It's gonna be shrimp.
uh, okay, give me a number from 1 to 4.
3.
1, 2, 3. So if you had to use handprint as a metaphor for success, how is handprint a metaphor for success?
Ooh, great, very good. So as we know, our prints are different than anybody else's. So that being said, you don't have to be better than the next person, right? Just be different. And you are already different, so you've got a leg up. So when you embrace your uniqueness, no matter what it is, all the things that we think we don't like about ourselves and the thoughts or whatever, is that's our uniqueness. And so when you become aware of that and you embrace it, you'll shine more. And the more you shine, the more you open yourself up for opportunities of success, right? So with that handprint, it being different, you're already better than better.
I see that. So that's how success is like a handprint. Well, thank you very much for your time. Your story is amazing, very, very inspiring and motivating. I actually learned a lot more this time too because you shared a lot more than we did the first time we chat. Any final words from you, and how do people get in touch with you?
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here. Final words, your personal growth and development will never exceed your level of success. I'm sorry, your level of success will never exceed your personal growth and development because success is attracted to the person you become. That's my final words. And how you can get in touch with me is either on Facebook, it's my name, Justin Danforth, or on Instagram, at underscore Justin Danforth.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much once again. Thanks for being here. It was a pleasure. For everybody, make sure you connect with Justin. If you want him to be a speaker, if you want him for some real estate advice or some motivation, I'm sure he'll be there for you. Until next time, today is the day to lock your peak potential. We'll see you later.